What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the stream, and today we are going to be having our third draft of this series. Checking out the standings there, you see we are sitting at a solid 50 and 46, only 4.5 out of the surprisingly competitive AL Central. We have 4 teams above 500, including the Tigers, who are the 25th ranked team, and the Twins, who are the 18th ranked team, as well as us, ranked there at 24. Taking a look at the wild card, we are actually tied for the third wild card spot. Obviously, a lot of games left to play, still a lot of teams in contention. It should be a pretty interesting season. It should be an even more interesting trade deadline. I'm thinking I'm leaning towards buying. I know last year we really went nuclear with the fire sale and being aggressive at trading some of our higher end guys, but I think we've got the talent stacked up. You took a look at some of our top prospects in the last episode, and I think we've got the farm where it needs to be. We've got some of the young talent on the major league roster, but I think we're looking for some high-end talent to acquire. But that is for the next episode. Let's go take a look at how some of the guys have been doing to this point this year. So first thing I want to do is recap a move we've had in the last month. We did DFA Nate Pearson. His ERA had ballooned over 5, and the FIP and component ERA were not great. We decided that it's time to move on from him. I was kind of a speculative ad after that first season from waivers. Thought he could kind of recapture some of the top prospect status as a reliever. Numbers last year weren't too bad, but he's really proven he's not able to cut it in the league. So I decided to DFA him, and I called up Quinn Priester, who had actually been performing pretty well at AAA. And he had gotten 2 starts to this point of the season. He had 2 starts for like 9 1/3 innings pitched. So he has 1 more outing for an inning pitched here. So you see the numbers so far, not too bad. I had him around to be a starter, and he's still in competition to be a starter should anybody else need to be moved out of the rotation or any injuries occur. But right now I'm going to keep him in the bullpen. As you see, not too bad so far for him. Additionally, for the lineups, I did DFA Santiago Espinal to call up Otto Lopez. Otto Lopez was actually my depth middle infielder and utility guy, but he was hurt. So when I sent down Colson Montgomery, I needed somebody off the street to kind of play for a couple weeks, and that was Espinal. Didn't do too much. I think he was hitting like 220 and like 30 at bats, something like that. So take a look at Otto Lopez, not doing anything too much early in his, tenure with us up in the majors. He's splitting time with Leo Peguero at third base. Luke Peguero playing on the weak side of the platoon against lefties. So let's check out how some of the rest of our hitters are doing. So Colton Cowser has really had a fantastic year. See the slash line there has been outstanding. The WAR is a little weak at 0.6. That's because he's playing... Well, he's not playing left field. He's playing right field, so I'm not quite sure. I guess he's not providing great defensive value, so that's a little surprising. This is his best strikeout year by far. And also his best walk year outside of his first season, which he didn't have a ton of at-bats. So pretty excited to see what Colton Cowser's been able to do. Also like what Jose Rodriguez has been able to do. He's struggled through like the month of May, but he's really picked it up in June in here to July. So another good slash line from him. What is his WAR on the year? 0.3 again, but I think that'll start to pick up as the season goes on. Wish he struck out a little bit less, but his walk numbers are up this year, so that is a good positive. Jackson Merrill has been our best player to this point. Actually put him in the 3 hole because Josh Bell's been struggling and Merrill's just been by far best hitter. You took a look at the slash line there. WAR already a career high at 2.4. Obviously playing some pretty solid defense in center field. K rate's outstanding, and he's also got some bump to that walk rate as well. BJ Murray, we called up, as I mentioned in the last episode. You see slash line there. Pretty good slugging. Wish he took some more walks, but not disappointed. Josh Bell has been very disappointing. The walk rate looks like it's okay, at least close to, on par with what his career has been. He's striking out a little bit more than I want to. Surprised to see his WAR at a 0.7 with those numbers. So hopefully he can pick it up in the second half and, be a good asset for our team going forward. Barry Ryan has actually had himself a pretty good cup of coffee with 100 at-bats so far. See the slash line there. What it is, already a 1 WAR, so that's pretty exciting. Edgar Carroll, on the other hand, has not been great. The walk rate's good, actually hitting for more power than I expected, but he's striking out too much. but he does have a .3 WAR, so I guess he's not playing too bad to this point. And then Geraldo Perdomo was hot for a lot of the season up until about like mid-June, and he's cooled off significantly. That being said, the average is where I like it to be. So is the on-base percentage. The slugging has fallen off the most in recent weeks, but he's playing good defense for us, already at a 1.7 WAR, so he's kind of bouncing back from what was a rough season last year. Taking a look at the bench, guys, Liover Peguero had that average up really high. It's dropped after I started to play him on a more regular basis. That being said, he's still got a 250 ISO, so 150 01 at bats. He's still providing some good things for us, and as well gives us some good defense. Dominic Fletcher continues to be an okay fourth outfielder. The slugging has dropped in recent weeks, so I think this might be our last year with him as our fourth outfielder, unless he can pick it up, because we do have some young guys who are pretty good options. Campusano, that's not exactly what we needed. Now that Caro's up, Caro's going to take over that full-time role and hopefully deliver, but I'd like to see a little bit more out of offense out of our catcher than what I'm getting from Campusano. And then Fairchild, he has not had a ton of at-bats, and he's done some decent damage in the few at-bats that he has, so I'm pretty happy with that. Pitching, on the other hand, has been pretty good for us. You see Griffin Canning's numbers on the year. The ERA is great. EFIP and component ERA are also fantastic. Michael Wacha has been one of the best pitchers in baseball. You see his WAR is a 2.6 right now, so he has been outstanding. This was a great veteran signing for us. I'm really loving what he's been able to give to us. Tony Gonsolin's not been great. He's got the ERA at 4.86, and the FIP is not great either, so I'm going to hold on to him for a little while longer, and we'll see what happens at the deadline. I might try to go after the quality young starter, and maybe then he'll take Gonsolin's space, or maybe I'll just DFA him and bring up some of the guys looking to take his spot. He also hasn't quite panned out for us after acquiring him on the waiver wire. Drew Thorpe's been colder in recent weeks, so that's pushed his ERA up a little bit. The advanced numbers don't look great either, but I think overall he's had a decent season. Robbie Snelling, I love the extra seasoning we were able to get him in AAA before he's come up. He's actually pitched very well, so I'm pretty happy with this. The strikeout numbers can be a little bit better, but overall, not disappointed whatsoever. Kobe Allard has continued to be a pretty solid piece for us as well. I like him as a long relief role, extra lefty in the pen, so I'm pretty happy with him. Davey Garcia, I'm not even going to dive into him. This guy's been fantastic. I'm going to probably have to give him another potential bump because, again, this is just 2 straight seasons again after struggling in 2024, so really proud of this kid. Steven Wilson's been great. Cousins, the whip is just scary high at 1.73, but you can't argue with the advanced numbers. The walks got to get more in check, but you can't argue with the end result with him. Quinn Priester, we talked about. Jared Schuster's continued to be an outstanding lefty for us. Lou Trevino's been a good signing, and so has Paul Sewald. So, honestly, pitching's been carrying us, and the offense has been able to give us just enough to keep us over the 500 mark. All right, let's check out the prospects. So down here, we're getting Colson Montgomery a little bit of work to kind of figure out his swing. It seems like he's done that. We're going to get him back up into the majors pretty soon, probably after the All-Star break. Just wanted him to try to get a little bit of gains to some of his contact numbers. We talked about his numbers in the last episode. He is not bad. He just needs to find a way to just eke out some more hits. So I feel confident with him long term. Samuel Zavala, though cold right now, has had a decent year at AAA. Wish he would power numbers were a little bit better, but contact and batting or on base percentage are good. And he's also getting some bumps in those visions. So I've been proud of his develop in this series. Wilfred Veras, though cold, is also having a very good year. So this guy is kind of become somebody to keep an eye on. We might see him in the majors very soon. Spencer Jones is also finding his swing just like Colson Montgomery, so he'll probably be up pretty soon as well. Alan Rose, in one of our draft picks from last year, has had a pretty good first taste of pro ball as well, so that's good. Let's see, who else do I want to talk about here? I guess Nate McCann is somebody I want to talk about. I pushed him into AAA because I needed an extra bat up there, and somehow he's holding his own. So I don't know what that means long term, but this is curious. It's something to monitor. Down at AA, somebody I want to continue to monitor. He had an awesome season last year is Ryan Burroughs. He's cooled off a little bit in recent weeks, but still a really good slash line for him. So I'm pretty intrigued by him. He's only 21 years old, so I'm keeping an eye on him. Ty Pete has unfortunately continued to struggle. The power numbers are decent, but everything else is not great. If he doesn't kick it up and get it into gear in the second half of the season, we are probably going to have to give him a potential demotion. Yeah, not loving that. One of the bigger names we acquired at our first deadline, and he has not been great. Douglas White is a guy I'm really intrigued by and keeping a close eye on him. He's turning himself into kind of a platoon guy against lefties with the bat, but because of those defensive and speed numbers, if he can get that bat to just close to league average, this guy could become a fourth outfielder for either us or somebody in the future. He's somebody to monitor. An unfortunate injury to talk about, Leo Dallas DeVries. He picked up a torn groin, so he's out for another month and a half or so. I see the bumps to his attributes on the season. He had been struggling at AA. I decided to say screw it and push him into AAA, and he actually was giving me some pretty good return on investment. So disappointing to see the injury kind of, destroy his development a little bit, but hopefully we're getting him back soon and we can get him some ABs at the end of the AAA season and we can consolidate some of the gains he's been able to make this year. Noah Schultz also picked up a shoulder injury. This is his second shoulder injury in this series so far, so that's starting to become a concern. Not too bad numbers at AAA. Whip's got to get a little bit more in check. It looks like he's walking too many guys. Probably could give up some fewer hits as well, so a little concerned about him, but again, only 22 years old, already 71 overall, so not terrible. On the pitching side of things, Luis Ortiz was one of our depth guys we picked up in the waiver market. He's pitched really well. I might try to get him into the majors, possibly as a reliever this year, just to see what he can give us in terms of value. Pretty happy with him. Dylan Lesko was having a pretty good season. He's been cold lately, but I'd say some pretty good developments this year. He might be pushing for a rotation call-up near the tail end of this season when the rosters expand. Seth Keenerton continues to be a name that I monitor closely. Some pretty good gains again, already pushing for 70 overall. I don't know, don't really have a spot for him in the Major League bullpen right now, but he is on the 40-man roster, so somebody to monitor in coming years. Jake Eder, though, he got sent down after not terrible in the majors. You see the FIP was pretty good, but he's been lights out at AAA, so definitely going to keep a close eye on him and probably get him back in the majors at some point this year. Down in AA, one of the guys I found in the free agent market after the first season was Giancarlo Solara. I actually thought about trading for him in that first season. I don't remember which team he was on, though. He's been pretty good for us the last 2 years, so that's a nice little development. Another guy I'm keeping an eye on is one of our draft picks from the first season, I believe, Doug Gonzalez. Really, really good gains to his hits per nine. That was his weakest attribute that really needed to fix, and he's been outstanding. You see a +6 to his hits per nine. The whip is 1.09, so this has been a nice development from that draft class. Alexis Ruiz was our first round draft pick from last year. Obviously, he's struggling with those Ks per nine numbers all the way down to the 28, but everything else looks great. And, I knew this was going to be a little bit of a concern with him, but the fact that his hits per nine and his base on balls per nine are so high right now, it definitely gives me confidence that he's going to be a solid piece for us going forward. And here we are at the draft. I did quite a bit of scouting again. I feel like I under-scouted pitchers in this one. I wanted to scout them a lot more. I did put them as one of my top positions of interest, but then I got to them too late into the year. So I feel like I might have to swing for one early because I scouted most of the pitchers early in the draft. If not, I'm going to have to take some blind shots late in the draft. But I did find some interesting guys both on the mound and in the field. So this should be a very interesting draft. Let's check it out. And away we go. Who's going to be first overall pick? It is Andres Casto. Didn't even bother scouting him. Didn't scout many guys inside the top 10 because I didn't think many of them would make it to us. And this guy goes first. So who goes number 2? All right. Looks like he got some luscious locks. It's Chad Crane, another guy we did not scout. So 2 for 2 not scouted, which is good. I didn't expect to have a shot at these guys anyways. And then number 3. Ryan Salinas. This guy was the number 1 preseason draft or pre-draft rank for MLB, We didn't scout him either, so 3 picks. I'm curious to see what those guys turn out to be. All right, let's get to our pick. So we are at the 15th pick now. Oh man, unfortunately, I had a couple of position players I really liked. This was one of my favorites. Really advanced, good potential there. Couple picks later, Miguel Perez went, another guy I really liked. After that, a couple picks later, Robert Casilla went. So there was a lot of guys I really liked and just didn't quite make it to us. So I'm kind of stuck here now between taking another relief pitcher in Luis Perez, who does have enough stamina to be a starter, so I would convert him to be a starter. Throw some gas, probably about 96, decent changeup, decent curveball. So that's a pretty good makeup as well. Advanced starter between 66 and 80. Good potential. And then the guy behind him is Rafael Armas if I wanted to go position player. Great defender, good contact against righty switch hitter, decent power upside. This is tough. So Armas is going to be pretty advanced for an 18-year-old. We've got 76 to 90 and 73 to 91. Oh, it's probably safer to go with Luis Perez. And I did say I needed to get out of here with a pitcher early. I do like Rafael Armas, but we are so deep at the catcher position or shortstop position, so I'm going to roll with Luis Perez. Another relief pitcher being drafted in the first round for us. Going to be tough to sign him because his interest was not that high, but we'll make sure we get him. I'm intrigued to see what this kid turns out to be. All right, on to the next one. Oh, I think I had something just fall perfectly into my lap. First baseman in the MLB draft are very, very hard to find. Good ones, at least, that aren't like really low starting overalls, or the ones that are high potentials that are good starting overalls have like terrible like power or something like that. Bobby Ferguson looks like a solid one. Worried that his overall might be really low, down at a 50, but if he's in that upper 50s range at 20 years old, he's going to have guaranteed 80 plus potential. I like this kid. Was also looking at David Castro, really good power, so I love that. Looks like he'd be solid overall, possibly like in those 60s already at 18, which is nice, but I think somebody like Ferguson is a good pick. We're going to get some pretty good potential out of this kid. So we're going to make him our second round draft pick and, hope our scouts are worth what we paid for them. We are here in the competitive balance round B, trying to decide between Alexis Mortero, starting pitcher, and Mackenzie Gramling. I do like Gramling's makeup, but, I think I'm going to go with Mortero just because of the upside. Possible 92 potential as a maximum, only 18 years old, so the starting overall looks like it's going to be in his position I like, and he seems like he's sliding a little bit. He's a pre-draft ranked by the MLB at 53. He's stayed pretty steady for us at 62, so I'm going to go get this kid in there. That's going to be 2 pitchers. I was worried I was going to get out of here without any. And now here I think I have two pretty good ones. And this is nice. Gramling actually made it to our next pick, so I'm going to go ahead and swing that bat really quickly and just draft him. I was already between him in the previous round, so let's see what this kid. Doesn't look like he has super high potential, but I like his makeup, so let's see what he is. Back here in the 4th round, only have a couple of scouted guys left between these second baseman and third baseman. Already took a third baseman, and this guy's got decent makeup, but I like this guy's upside for contact. Plus, he's got good positional versatility, but make a nice utility man. So yeah, very intriguing guy, and I'm going to make him our 4th round draft pick. So far, I'm liking this draft, or I'm at least very intrigued by this draft. Let's see how it turns out. All right, here in round 5, completely out of scouted prospects. Trying to take some blind swings. Haven't taken an outfielder yet. This guy looks like a super athlete and a super defender. Possibly high potential too, with some good starting overall. So worth taking a blind swing on a guy with that type of a profile. So just 2 guys left that I was interested in, Eric Church and Pablo Cuevas. Honestly, pretty equal profiles in terms of potential and overall. Both of them throw gas in the upper 90s with their fastballs. But I'm going to lean towards Eric Church for 2 reasons. One, he's got a higher potential for strikeouts per 9, and he's a lefty, so I can use a young, possible high upside lefty in my bullpen and in my organization. So I am going to make Eric Church the final pick of this draft. And there you have it. That is the end of our third draft. I honest to God don't know how well I did in this one. I'm going to be very intrigued to see what it is come signing day. Gonna have my work cut out for me to sign a couple of those guys, but I'm going to make sure, absolutely sure, that we're getting that first round draft pick signed. First number one priority. But beyond that, I don't know. This might be one of the more intriguing draft classes I had. But that's going to be all I have for you in this episode. I'm going to see y'all in the next one. It's going to be a trade deadline. I think it's going to be a good one. Maybe not as good as the last one, but it's still going to be a good one nonetheless. Meantime, tweet time. I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. And I'm gone. Deuces.